Hi everybody, this is Matthew Poes with Poes Acoustics, and in this video we're going to do a niche topic, surround speaker height. So I think I've covered this in different ways before, but it came up recently and I just wanted to talk a little bit about how this is kind of handled. And when I say surround speaker height, I am really mostly focused on the side and rear surround speakers, but the actual main LCRs, this is an issue too. So there's a couple things you want to focus on. One is when you're basically, think of it as shooting sound at the listener from the speaker. When you're projecting sound towards the listener, the more off axis they are from what we're going to call design axis of the speaker, what most people think of as the tweeter axis, but that may not be true. But that tweeter axis, the more rolled off the sound could end up being. So one of the reasons why we try to make sure that they're at ear level is that makes sure that the design axis of the speaker is at the right place. It gives us the right spectral balance, the timbre is right. However, you can place them too low and aim them up, or you can place them too high and aim them down, and you maintain the spectral balance. Now, some may think that that causes us to perceive the height as changing, but it requires quite a bit of height change for us to perceive a change in height. In front of us, to the sides and to the rear of us, it requires a massive amount of height change to perceive a height change. So in front of us, it would actually need to go up a couple of feet before we would actually realize that it's moved up. If you saw it, that's different because our eyes and our ears can work together. But if you don't see anything, if you're essentially blind to the movement of the sound object, it needs to move substantially before you realize that it's moved. And so placing the speakers too high by a few feet up or a few feet down is actually not the end of the world. It doesn't necessarily sound too high to us. If you can see them, the eyes can throw us off. But if you can't see them, then if you think of it as like behind a screen, an acoustically transparent screen, for those front LCRs, if they're above the midpoint, at the midpoint, or below the midpoint, any of those can sound equally good as long as they're aimed correctly. So then we get to the side surrounds. And this is going to explain why we would move the front speakers up to the top versus middle versus below the middle. And that is, when you're sitting in a chair like this, you can see I don't have a headrest behind me. There's nothing to affect the sound that's coming in. And assuming there's no people around me, then if the speakers are at ear level, the sound is going to equally project to my ear from the sides and rear the way it's supposed to. And so I'm going to get the right spectral balance of sound around me. And so ideally, that's actually what you would have. If you had like one perfect seat, no other seats, perfect home theater layout, all speakers would be at ear level except for the overhead channels. You wouldn't place the side surrounds up higher. That isn't better. But there's a problem, which is that in most home theaters and definitely in most commercial theaters, you have people all around you. You have seats that actually have a headrest that might come up to your ears or to the top of your head. Now all of a sudden the sound is trying to shoot through a chair or through people's heads to get to your ears, and so the spectral balance you get is different. And in fact, if you're not dead center, or if there's somebody on one side but not the other, you're going to hear a difference between that side and the other. There's a simple solution, just raise the speakers up. If you raise the speakers up and then you point them down, what you're doing now is you're projecting the sound over the heads and over the headrest, and you don't have that spectral shift anymore. So the reason why we don't place surround speakers right at ear level in a lot of home theaters is because we're trying to get up and over their heads. There are situations where we may maintain certain ones, like side surrounds in the front row at roughly ear level, and then move up as the rows go back. And that's because some of that spectral shift that you're getting can be adjusted for with the extra side surrounds, but those are typically using high channel count systems like Trinnovs to deal with the extra speakers. You know, and in many cases, those systems also have wides, they might have heights, you name it. So you might still see that, at least in some of my designs, where I would maintain the ear level, because I do prefer that when I can. But we don't always do that. And like I said, the main reason we don't do that is we're trying to get up and over the heads. Well, the same thing is true of the LCRs. That's why I wanted to add those back into the height discussion. So the LCRs, imagine that you're leaning back. So you've got the seat leaned back all the way. And you've got somebody in front of you. You're in the back row. You're up on a riser. And the speakers are at that front row's ear level, right? Their feet, your feet, may actually be in line. Their head even may be in line with the tweeter. And so what you're getting is going to be mostly some rolled off response plus all that reflections off of those objects. And so you don't get as good sound. If you move the speakers up higher, let's say because really the optimal placement typically for speakers is going to place them in the bottom third of the screen. If you break the screen up into thirds, the bottom third is kind of where you optimally typically place speakers once the screen is at the optimal location. You might move to the midpoint then for 2 rows of seats. Might, depends. If you don't have the riser height exactly right, and let's say you're playing around with the, we'll call it sight lines and sound lines in this case, you may find that the midpoint isn't even high enough. And so we may place the screen up higher for optimal viewing angles for this particular scenario, and we may actually move the speakers up to the top third. It's my least favorite way to do it, but there are scenarios where it's the best way to maintain good spectral balance, and you'd be surprised when you can't see the speakers how everything still sounds like it's happening on the screen where it's supposed to. It doesn't sound like there's speakers right up at the top of the screen. And the reason why we typically do that with the front speakers, so I actually had first become aware of this being done with studios, and it was done because you needed to shoot sound over the mixing desk and the monitors. But I started seeing it in home theaters, and the justification for it, which made sense to me, was, as I said, you've got people reclined, or maybe some were sitting up and some were reclined, and it was causing so that the speakers, when the screen was at the right location, the speakers often were placed at the bottom or middle of the screen and was firing through people. And so you needed to move it up higher to get it up over the people. So it's not, I wouldn't just do that as a knee jerk. Like, well, we're just going to avoid all the problems and we're going to put them up there, because it is less ideal. Better placement would typically be lower. But when you're looking at the trade-offs of this particular example, where you've got sort of people in the way of where the speakers would go, then moving them up becomes a better option. So I wouldn't write off a system, if you've seen it, where the speakers seem too high as being badly designed. It may actually be more better designed. It may be a more elegant solution to a problem than you realize. Like I said, I was initially critical of this until I really dug into what was going on and understood that you've got to kind of look at all the pros and cons of every decision you're making. And when you've placed the seating as optimally as you can and the screen as optimally as you can, you could find yourself, again, as you can is the key word here. You often can't do anything you want. So within the constraints of the room, you may find yourself in a position where the speakers are trying to fire through people, and that's actually going to be worse than if you just move the speakers up. So the LCRs sometimes are higher, but the side surrounds are almost always higher. So like I said, ear height is the optimal, that's where it should be. But when you consider people sitting and all the other things going on, you may need to raise them up a bit to get better sound. So hopefully this video was helpful. Subscribe to my channel and you can get more content like this. Thank you.